Hello and welcome into a Thursday morning edition of the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. My name is Kevin Hicks and I am your lead beat writer for the Arizona State Sun Devils on SI and your host every single day for the Sun Devils Insider Podcast. And I'm so grateful to be joining you ahead of a massive weekend for Arizona State Athletics. This cannot be hammered down enough. There are multiple programs that have high stakes games, including the volleyball team who has a game on Thursday night. The result will be known by the time this recording drops on Friday morning between Arizona State and their rival Arizona. Obviously, Arizona State's volleyball program is in the midst of an absolutely phenomenal dream season. They're ranked in the top 10 of the country. They have a chance to win the Big 12 regular season crown outright, and possibly a chance to play for a national title. The women's basketball team plays a game tonight, their first road game of the season, against the San Diego Toreros. Molly Miller's squad is looking to start the season 3-0. That will be a game to watch without a doubt. The Arizona State men's basketball team, which we will cover shortly, have a major game at home at DFA against the Gonzaga Bulldogs tomorrow night. And Arizona State football, roughly 14 hours after tip-off of that game, have a kickoff against West Virginia, and their Big 12 title hopes are still alive. They need a few things to fall their way to make that a reality once again, but they are in position to move to 7-3 on the season and have a chance to finish the regular season with 9 wins, despite all the things that have and all the roadblocks they have encountered during the last 8 weeks or so. That's really all we have for the rest of the week. Cross country has a big week as well. They're in West Regionals right now, I believe. But yeah, now that feels like a segue into talking about Arizona State Gonzaga in men's basketball. Gonzaga, ranked number 19 in the country, they went into the season with a little less hype than they typically do. They were ranked in the top 25, but typically Gonzaga's top 10, 15 lock every single season. I think a lot of the skepticism around Gonzaga was the same thought process as it was for Arizona State. A lot of unknowns, a lot of veteran pieces that hadn't necessarily been a part of a high major program or a high level program winning a lot of games. Maybe questions about the ceiling of this team, bringing in players such as Adam Miller and Tyon Grant Foster, good players, but I feel like they aren't necessarily looked at as a Koa Pete or a Darren Peterson, if that makes sense. But Gonzaga is really, really good. Breaking news, Gonzaga basketball is as good as advertised and probably even better. I watched the game against Creighton on Tuesday night, and they just absolutely obliterated the Blue Jays. Creighton's ranked, by the way. Creighton is the number 23 team in the nation right now, and Gonzaga just absolutely boat raced them. Even though the first half score was 44-38 in favor of Gonzaga, that game just wasn't as close as the score showed in the first half. Gonzaga had their way physically. Graham Ike hit 3 3-pointers in the first minutes of the game to really display the growth that he's made as a player. Graham Ike didn't even get to the free throw line. He scored 20 points on 8 of 10 shooting, made all 4 of his 3-pointers, and grabbed 10 rebounds. Adam Miller, 5 for 8 from the floor, 11 points. Tyon Grant Foster, he struggled scoring the ball, but he was a great piece defensively with his long wingspan. He blocked a shot. Jalen Warley 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals. They're just Braden Huff, the other front court piece alongside Graham Ike. Just very, very impactful. 14 points, 7 for 12 from the floor. Braden Smith, 6 points, 5 assists, and 2 steals. Did a great job of orchestrating the offense. Gonzaga's a deep team. They have a very versatile guard play. Like Bobby Hurley said, they run the floor very, very well. They're very, very fundamentally sound. They have great basketball IQ, great timing, great disposition when it comes to knowing the right basketball play to make. And those are typical characteristics of Mark Few coach teams. Usually they're very disciplined. They run the floor very well. They space the floor very well. They make the right pass. They're unselfish. All those characteristics are characteristics of this team as well. But the front court is probably the strongest it's been since you had Drew Timme and company all those years ago. Braden Huff and Graham Ike they're going to be an absolute menacing challenge for the Arizona State front court, and that leads me to my key matchup of the game. I really think that it's going to come down to who wins the front court battle. I really do. Gonzaga is a little bit deeper than Arizona State at this point with all of the injuries that the Sun Devils have encountered. Obviously, Dante Holloman is out. There's no timetable on his return. Sounds like Noah Mauson is probably going to return later in the month, but not quite yet. Sounds like, VJ Wallace is out for the season. There's no doubt about that. So Gonzaga's deeper at this point, but the front court, Arizona State has a chance. And here's what I would do if I was in this position. I would probably opt to start Alan Mukeba and make Graham Ike his primary defensive assignment. That's probably what I would do, because I think Santiago Truett is a talented defender, but he has a pretty slight frame, and I kind of feel like Braden Huff and Graham Ike would have their way on him. I wouldn't say all the time, because I do think Truett is very disciplined and he's a good help defender, but the physicality edge would go to Gonzaga pretty substantially. I think if you have Masamba Diop and Alan Mukeba out there, that's going to hopefully force Gonzaga to work tirelessly to get their share. It's not guaranteed, because I feel like Gonzaga could have the potential. They only took 13 free throws against Creighton. Creighton took 31. I think there's potential for Gonzaga to get to the line a lot. Arizona State did have a few lapses against both Southern Utah and Utah Tech. They got to the line more than you would like. So it's kind of a wait and see there. But lastly, I honestly think Arizona State needs to play to Gonzaga's speed to have a chance to win this game. That's a very bold thing to say, I know. But I think Arizona State has the guard play in place right now, even with the injuries, to match Gonzaga's firepower. I think if you get a good, healthy dosage of three-point volume in this game, whether it's corner looks off of skip passes, whether it's Pig Johnson and Mo Odom working out the inside-out game, I think that if you get about 33-point looks in this game, let's say you make about 13 or 14 of them, I think you have a very, very good chance to win, especially with Masamba Diop getting his on the interior inevitably. I think that's a recipe to win this game. I really, really do. I still ultimately think Gonzaga is probably going to be too much for them in the end, but I think they can put up a fight like they did last year. I think in my official prediction, I said Gonzaga 90, ASU 78. So, and I think the game will look a lot closer than the final score. But we shall see. Arizona State Gonzaga Friday night, 9 p.m. MST, ESPN2, and I will be at the game to cover it for each and every one of you because of each and every one of you. And uh, I'll see you on Saturday morning with a preview of the Arizona State football game. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you then.